We always do a fall parent meeting, and last year Dr. Trevathan's like, maybe we should offer a meeting at the end of the school year for 6th graders to introduce them to OHSAA organized sports before they become a 7th grader and before they understand lots of things that go along with high school sports, middle school sports, and OHSAA sports. So that's what we're here for. There will be time for questions at the end. If you think of something, if you want that question answered right away, let me know. I am Jody. I'm Jody Long, the high school athletic director, middle school athletic director. I do all of the scheduling, all of the rescheduling. If we're into spring sports, it's not been a fun spring. So that's what fills lots of my time during the day in the spring. But for next school year, Mr. Miller is going to be the site manager for middle school sports, so I won't always be around at all of those. So if you have something that you need, a concern that you need to raise to him, make sure you find him. I will be there sometimes. Sometimes you'll see some of the high school coaches at some of the games. If you have a question, ask. Feel free to ask. And Mr. Kaib, the 7-12 principal for next year. One of the important things that I think that we need to understand is that this is different than all the club ball teams you've been on, all the travel ball teams you've been on, all the rec ball teams that you've been on. This is OHSAA. Lots of rules, lots of everything. So one thing that's important is that participation, it's a privilege. It's not your right to play on one of these teams. And when I say that, I don't mean it to be harsh, but there's lots of things that go along with it. So as student athletes, there's an expectation from the Hillsdale community and the OHSAA. I probably could also throw in the Wayne County Athletic League because that's the league that we're a part of, to uphold certain standards both on and off the field in order to represent your team, your school, and your community positively. We are a member of the Wayne County Athletic League, so we have to follow their rules also. There's 8 of us, and the OHSAA. I'm going to do a little more here than we would at the fall parent meeting. This is geared more towards grade 7, 8, so I won't go into all of the CCP stuff as you get into high school. We'll save that more for a couple years. So one of the main things that you'll see, all of the rules, all of the blah, 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 will be in the Hillsdale Athletic Handbook. And where can you find that? You can find that on the school website. You can find that in final forms. Once the school year opens for next year, it's June 1st. You mark that your kid is playing a fall sport, a winter sport, a spring sport. This will pop up in there. So the athletic handbook could be found there and on the website. But this is what it looks like. You scroll through it. We will go through certain parts of it, not every single part of it. If you hear me, I promise I don't mean it's bad. But if you hear me say I don't really care about that sport, that's because it's not a Hillsdale board approved sport. So anybody that's in club baseball or softball right now, one of the teams is playing, that's not something that we control at Hillsdale. So these are the sports that Hillsdale has as board-approved sports. So in the fall, we offer football, volleyball, cross country, and cheer. And if I forgot something, please, please, please let me know. In the winter, we offer boys and girls basketball, wrestling, and cheerleading. And in the spring, we just offer track and field. Okay, baseball and softball is not a part of Hillsdale, even though that has the Hillsdale name. That's not something that we govern. Also, OHSAA says the principal, middle school, high school principal, whatever, they have ultimate responsibility for athletics. So they make the final say. So if it's something in athletics, you're like, but you're the athletic director. That doesn't always matter, okay? I do what I can, but that's not always something that I can control. So one of the things that we really, really, really are stressing is the chain of command here. If there's something, I promise you, there's probably going to be something that you don't like as you go through grade 7 through 12 athletics. That's okay. We all have opinions. We're not all always going to agree. But you or your athlete should be talking to the coach first. Okay, find out what the issue is. If that doesn't go over well, then you should be reaching out to the site manager. middle school, Mr. Miller. High school, right now it's Mr. Call. Then that comes to me, then it goes to the principal. It shouldn't just be coming to me every time that you see an issue. Okay, so that's something that we really are working on. In final forms, everybody's familiar with final forms, correct? This is your first time in organized athletics. Okay, so when you open up final forms, you're not going to see all of these things that need to be signed in order to compete or participate in athletics. Okay, once June 1st comes around, you're going to go in, you're going to fill out all your stuff like you have the past however many years we've had final forms. Then you're going to say, my kid is playing football, my kid is playing volleyball, my kid is cheering in the fall. Sign up for all 3 seasons, fall, winter, spring. Once you sign your kid up, then all of these necessary forms will appear. Okay, what all do you have to sign? There's a lot of them. Okay, but once you sign them, once you fill out all this information, it will carry on to the next year unless there's a change. So like you've already gone on and you filled out your address, your phone number, emergency contacts, what else? T-shirt sizes. Those change. I know your kid is not going to be in the same size they were last year, some of them, as the start of next year. Just go in, change that box, sign your name at the bottom, that form signed. Go on to the next one. But now that you're going to be in organized athletics, there's more that you're going to have to fill out. So one of them is emergency medical authorization. Normal stuff. Our coaches, we have a few here, they can go on final forms and get all of that information just from what you fill out. So it's very important that you update that. If anything changes, make sure you update that. The athletic policy handbook, what I showed you a minute ago, it's board approved in March, I believe, so that the new one will appear June 1st. So you can go in and sign it. There were a few changes, not a ton, but that every time the board approves it, we add it to the website for you to sign. OHSAA paperwork that they require. A concussion acknowledgement. If, well, you always have to sign that. But if, like in the winter, you didn't sign your kid up, they're playing boys basketball, you add it later, your forms are going to go from green to red because it's going to require that you go back on and sign it, because there's a chance that something would happen with that. Continuing, impact is some concussion testing stuff, more of that in the high school. Sudden cardiac arrest awareness, that's the Lindsay's Law video. That if you haven't watched it before, it's the same thing that they had like last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. So the video has not changed. The meaning of it is still important. The OHSAA authorization that just basically says you're going to follow the rules, you're going to do everything that the school says. So there's all of this important paperwork that you're going to look through, hopefully. So those are the rules that we follow as a member school. On there also, once you say I'm going to play this sport, the physical paperwork populates. Okay, I suggest that you do it here. Lots of people will just go online and print out a blank physical form. If you answer these questions, they're going to populate every single time you do a physical. Okay, so yes, there may be some stuff that changes. You may have to update it, but you don't have to go through and check all the boxes every single time. It will be there. You just print a new one, take it to your physician, take it to CVS, take it to UH. Hopefully you got some information that UH is offering free physicals on, I think it's Friday night, June 6th. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yes, I see some head shaking. Good. So yeah, they're offering those. Take advantage of that if you're available that night. I think there was a link that we sent out on the website, on Facebook. There's some information. If you don't have it, touch base with me afterwards. I will get that information to you. We do have a great athletic trainer. Some of our coaches will attest to that. He is contracted through UH primarily as a high school trainer. Okay, he's not going to be at the middle school football games. He's not going to be at the middle school volleyball games. He may be around and he may look at your kid if he's available, but he is here serving our high school athletes. Okay, I know some of you have younger kids that have seen him. He will do that. Okay, but he's not here just for them. And I don't mean that to sound harsh, but his main priority is the high school kids. OHSAA sportsmanship, fan code of conduct, and the fan ejection policy, those are new forms for next school year. Okay, it just shows if you've been to a high school basketball game last season, we printed out some new forms. We are education-based athletics. We are here to teach your kids not only how to play sports, but how to be good sports also. Okay? It's a struggle sometimes. I'm sure some of you witness, some of you experience, all of that. We are trying to make good citizens out of your kids. So lots of these forms need to be signed before your kid can participate. Okay, so before official practices, which we'll get to, all of these should be green. So I can show you briefly. I didn't get permission, but this is from my nephew's final forms page. Hopefully it's okay. But this is what you'll kind of see. So Jackie signed up Brady to to play different sports. So all of these things at the top are basic what he needs to go to school here. Once you get to about here, which is the student handbook, actually not the student handbook, the athletic policy handbook. If you click on that, you can pull up the athletic policy handbook. I think 16, 17 pages it is this year. Once you get done looking through it, which I would recommend that you do look through it, we'll cover lots of that stuff. You as a parent, guardian sign, your student signs. So you can see all of his stuff is green here. That means that the parent, guardian, and the athlete has signed. If it's red, that means neither of you have signed. If it's yellowish, orangish, I guess I don't know exactly what color that is, that means one of you have signed, but not the other. Okay, so lots of things on there. This at the very bottom, that if I click that, that's what brings up the actual physical form that you print off and take to the physician, the doctor, CVS, whoever you would like to take that to. So this little blue thing right in the middle, click it, print it. All the questions that you've answered will be answered on the papers that you print off. If you say, I don't have a printer, I'll print it off for you. Send me an email, have your kids stop in. I'll print it off where it's already answered. So that shouldn't be an issue. Ms. Geiser will do it. I'm sure Mrs. Sigler, Coach Klein has done several. If that's an issue, do that. It's way easier. I promise you, it's way easier than getting a copy somehow and then doing all of that. So those are lots of things that you're going to see on final forms in the handbook. OHSAA says in grades 7 and 8, your son, your daughter has to be eligible for athletics. What does that mean? That means they have to pass 4 classes. How many classes do they have in middle school? They have at least 4, because they have 4 core classes. Some of them will have, you guys might have to help me out here, 6. Some of them have band, some of them have choir, some of them have an extra one. Okay, so they have some kind of special, maybe 2 specials. 2 specials, so they should have 6 credits. It shouldn't be an issue. Okay, it shouldn't be an issue. They get a free, incoming 7th graders, they get a free pass in the fall. So all incoming 7th graders are eligible once they hit the first 9 weeks, usually October-ish, sometime the end of October. That's when it'll take effect. They have to pass 4 credits. We will check that. I'm assuming we're still going to do school without failures next year, Wednesday school. Mr. Kaib would like to explain.
All right, real quick, school without failures. We just went over this, and we're going to be going over this and streamlining it to making sure that both the 7th and 8th grade is mirroring or is very similar to what we are doing in the high school. Currently, right now, if you were a 9th through 12th grader, your detention, which is for not completing work, is 2 hours long, but the length of time that you have to get that work in is a little bit longer. So if you were a student in 7th and 8th grade currently right now, and you had missing work, a one call now would go home to the parent on Friday, just like it is in 6th grade. But you guys don't usually get this because the teachers have some win time that works out very nicely for you in the 6th grade. So a one call now will go out to you on Friday saying that, hey, if your child does not get the work completed by the following Tuesday at 3 o'clock, Wednesday they will have a 1 hour detention. Again, on Tuesday, there'll be a reminder gone out saying, hey, I didn't get the work for you, and that is going to be given through the One Call Now system as well, and that will remind you that on the next day that you will have it. If you cannot serve, because sometimes things happen, your child will not be able to participate in the sport until that detention is served. So for volleyball, it is on Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Mondays and Thursdays?
Games?
Yeah. I can't remember.
Mondays and Thursdays.
Mondays and Thursdays. For football, it's always Thursdays. So if little Timmy, because he is, he's a rowdy guy, he doesn't get it done on Wednesday, can't serve, he will not be able to participate in that game on Friday night or Thursday night. Okay? Questions?
Eligibility is determined every 9 weeks. So at the end of 9 weeks, the teachers have a couple days to get their grades in. Once the secretary gets them printed out, we look through them, make sure everything's eligible. That's always a bad day when we have to go tell your kid that they're not eligible to play what they love to do the next season. Okay, so we will send reminders. Please, I wouldn't say stay on them, but please stay on them. It is important. It's not just the same as playing summer ball, all of those things now. So we will get those sent out to you after the first 9 weeks. Training rules. This is from the Hillsdale Athletic Handbook. These rules, most of them, this is my 9th year doing this, have been in effect way before I started. We, as an athletic council, the head coaches, meet 4 times a year. If there's something that we think needs to be changed, they bring it to the athletic council, we discuss it, we vote on it. That's what brings new stuff into our Hillsdale Athletic Handbook. Then the board votes on them to approve them, usually in March. So these are some things that come from that athletic handbook. It's enforced in and out of season. Okay, so if your kid messes up, they probably will. It's okay. Are they going to learn from it? That's where we're interested in or out of season. So even if they play football in the spring, they do something that still is in effect, in or out of uniform. So it could be during school, could be out of school. And any of the disciplinary actions. So right now we're focused on middle school. So if anything out of the Hillsdale Student Handbook, if they mess up in class, if they mess up at recess, on the bus, those things do come into effect. They come into play. Okay, that's not something I control. That's the Hillsdale Student Handbook. So those things will make your kid miss a practice, miss a game, miss something. If they get mouthy with an official, with a coach, they get ejected. Hopefully we don't have to deal with or use or possession of alcohol, drugs, vapes, all of that kind of stuff. That will come into play. Okay, I don't like to have to tell someone they can't play. Okay, that's not fun because the kid's upset and the parent's upset. That's like when I taught. I didn't wake up every morning and say, I'm going to be yelling. I'm not going to be very nice to Coach Smith here. She's going to make me mad and I'm going to yell at her. Okay, I don't really wake up every day wanting to get someone in trouble. Okay, that's not fun. Coaches, they have the authority to schedule their practice times. Hillsdale's very small. Hillsdale has kids that are involved in lots and lots of things. We, as a coaching staff and an athletic council, we try to work together with the band, with the FFA, with all of these things. It is tough sometimes. Okay, at some time, your kid will have to make a decision whether or not they're going to do this or do this. It is tough, but we do try to work together. So they will come up with practice times. You'll have those before This obviously the start of the year with a schedule. There may be tryouts. Okay, we don't like to do that, but you can only carry so many on a roster for middle school, for high school. We have to have enough uniforms. There's lots of things that come into effect for those. Not something we like to do, but it could possibly happen. So that's why it says it may occur. Transportation. The board policy is that the kids ride on a school van, school bus, school whatever, to the event. There are some times where that can't be possible. Fair, everybody's involved in the fair. Maybe your kid is not done showing their cow, their lamb, their pig, their whatever, and can't get back to school in time to catch the bus. We will work with you, okay? But we just need to know some of those things. Communication is key in lots of these things. But on the way home, some coaches do not want your kids to ride home with the parents. They want them to ride home as a team. That's okay. Some of them want to get rid of them. Okay, no offense, but some of them are like, yep, go ahead. You can ride with your parents and a signed note. Okay, it can't be, my grandma's going to the game. Nope. Could there be a possibility where we do allow that? Yes, but it should be with a parent. So there's that. Sports seasons. As you go through the handbook, there's lots of things. Sports seasons are set by OHSAA. Every year they change. This year, the fall sports season starts on August 1st, which is a Friday. I think golf changed. I forget. I mean, this is not for high school, but I think they allowed a couple extra days. But OHSAA is constantly changing. All the coaches are the ones that determine those things. So how many days of practice are you allowed this summer?
So it's like 13 days, but you get 5 acclimation days. So you start before August 1st.
Yes. So if you did not hear Coach Klein for football, this would be middle school. They don't necessarily do all the stuff that high school does. So they could start way earlier than August 1st. They do the week before, I believe, is their 5 acclimation days, and you can start wearing the helmets, pads, all of those things earlier. How many days do you get? 13 days. So that means you're allowed to coach. This is Coach Wilkie. We'll do introductions in a minute for a volleyball, high school volleyball. You can have 13 days where you can actually coach your kid. Otherwise, they have to be open gyms, but they can't be mandatory until August 1st. Okay, so those are different. Winter seasons, girls basketball starts a week before boys basketball, which starts about 2 weeks before wrestling. Okay, so those all change every year, and they're determined by the OHSAA. Practice sessions. Okay, this is important, and I think this may be one of the reasons that Dr. Trevathan asked that we would go through this. This is different than rec ball. How many days a week do you practice rec? 2. Baseball, softball, 1, 2, then games start, right? It is different once you get to 7th grade. Practices are usually every day. There may be a time when you get a day off because of this or this, but you have to be committed to the team. Do you want to play? Okay, it is tough. It is going to be a lot when you have homework every day and you have practice every day. You start to learn to be a little more responsible as a kid. Okay, that's what we're gearing towards. That's what we want from all of you student athletes. Mandatory. Okay, it's not, oh, I don't feel like going to practice today. It's nice outside today. I'm just going to take the day off. Okay, I guess that's okay if that's what you want, but there probably will be some sort of consequence if you decide not to go to practice. Okay, so those are some things that the kids need to know also. We already talked about the mandatory start dates. This fall is August 1st. Usually they're daily. Vacations during the season are discouraged, and I know that's tough, and I know some of you have a hard time finding a time to go on vacation as a family. I get it. My kids played travel ball. My kids did everything. Where did you go on vacation? Mrs. Hickey, where do you go on vacation in the summer? Wherever the softball tournaments are. Okay, I was a part of that also. It's like, hey, here we go. We get to go to Myrtle Beach this year because that's where we're playing ball. Okay, that's tough as a family. So we, as an athletic council, decided that we are taking, and some of you are like, that's not very much, but we decided that we close athletics the week of July 4th. Okay, so there shouldn't be any organized athletics the week of July 4th here. I may have to lie about this. I think Coach Schimberger already had a summer league scheduled on that Monday of the first week of that. But I'm going to let that go this time just because. But if you can't do it, you can't do it. If you have to miss it, you have to miss it. But we are shut down, no open gyms, no weightlifting during that week. Conflicts, they're going to happen. Okay? I don't mean to sound bad, but grandma may pass away. You may have to go to a funeral out of state. There's going to be something that happens. As long as you communicate with the coaches and let them know, we will work with you. It's going to arise, but we need to know about that. And one of the other things, practice sessions, supervision. Okay, this is one of the things, and some of you I see going to the weight room, all these things after school because my office is back there. There should be supervision in the locker rooms, not maybe necessarily not in, but around the locker rooms, in the gym. So when your practice time, your coach should be there. You shouldn't be in there just, I see a little wrestler back there, right, Ethan? You shouldn't be doing some takedowns, whatever drills. Your coach should be around. You shouldn't be lifting weights in the weight room. Okay, we started a couple weeks ago, 3:15. We had lots of kids in there. We didn't have any adults in there. 3:15 unless you're with your team and your coach is in there. If your kid, obviously your kids aren't driving, if they have to stay after school because they have a late practice, they can sit in the cafeteria. They can bring a snack. They can eat a snack. They have vending machines that are available. They shouldn't just be roaming the halls. They shouldn't be looking in any storage closet to see if they can find a basketball or a volleyball and then sneak off away from Mrs. Long to find an open gym that I can play ball at. Okay, that's when I get the she's mean talk because I'm the one that has to do the disciplining. I'm the one that has to yell at them. Get out. There's no one in here because what happens when little Johnny breaks his ankle? Nobody's around. Okay, so that's when I usually hear she's mean. I'm really not mean. I'm just like anybody else that's in charge of someone, in charge of something, and telling you, no, you can't do that. They're more than welcome to stay, but there's a chance I probably will yell at your kid if they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. Doesn't mean I don't like them. It's just I'm directing them to where they should be. Attendance. This is one thing. You guys might be the first to hear this. That has changed in the handbook. It used to be 11:30. Your kid had to be in school to play. Then it went to 11 o'clock. It's so hard now because we have kids that are in CCP classes. We have kids that don't have to come in because they're only taking classes in the afternoon. We have kids that have to go to the doctor here and there. They have to be in school. Okay, so if they don't show up, they're not playing. If they have an appointment in Akron and they don't make it back till 1, they should let me know. They should let Mr. Kive know. They should let Twyla, Ms. Geiser know in the office. But the 11 o'clock has been taken out of there. Your kid needs to be in school. Out of season, rules are determined by the OHSAA. No contact periods. What I mean by that. Okay, so let's see. Volleyball is a fall sport. Once the tournament is over, the volleyball coach can't have contact with your kid, with your athlete, for a month. Okay, 28 days. So there's lots of rules that go into effect from OHSAA. If your kid is a wrestler, there are rules once wrestling season is. You can't take them to tournaments during our school wrestling season. If your kid plays softball, you can't play on a travel softball team during season. Okay, if your kid plays on one of those teams, Hopefully your coach, that is the coach of that team, knows those rules. They shouldn't be scheduling tournaments during softball season for someone that plays on that. Okay, I'll say that JV softball is done now. They had a tournament last Friday and Saturday. So if any of those kids aren't playing on varsity, they can be released to their travel ball team. Okay, that kind of is how it goes with basketball, AAU basketball. Once they're done with their season, they can go play on an AAU basketball team. But not all sports are created equal. Some of the individual sports don't necessarily have those rules, the no contact periods. So if you have a question and your kid does something other than a school sport, please ask. I may not know it right away, but I will look it up, or I will email the OHSAA and find the answer. Questions about the athletic handbook. Lots of stuff. You might want to take a look at that just so you can see what all there is in there. We do have a great athletic booster club. Usually they meet on the third Monday. That may be changing because the board meetings change to the third Monday, but we are at least going to finish out this year. Excuse me. One of the things that they do is a booster drive, raises lots of money. We could spend lots of time talking about what all the booster club does, but they buy uniforms. They support the teams. They buy other equipment that the school doesn't. I could go on and on. But I don't have any examples right now. Sorry. That is August 16th this year. There's also the Falcon Fun Fest, Family Fun Fest that afternoon, just like we did last year. And then we'll do the Meet the Team with all the fall sports teams, grades 7 through 12. Hopefully outside at the stadium, weather permitting. Uniforms, I think I have that. There might be a second session or different place for that. The uniforms are school property. So once your coach issues those, I know I see lots of times ball boys at football games. Those are theirs that they get from youth football. Those are different than school. So you shouldn't be wearing a school-issued football uniform at the fair. You shouldn't be wearing your cheerleading uniform at the fair. You shouldn't be wearing just your volleyball top, hopefully not your spandex shorts on an off night of volleyball practice. Okay, those should be game days. Those should just be when your coach says you can wear those. Concession stands are one of the biggest money makers of the Booster Club. Some of you may be dying to help. Some of you may not be dying to help. You probably will get asked to help at some point or another. That is part of the way that we get money for uniforms and all of that stuff. I would say probably 30 to 40% of the income comes from concession stands. And volunteer, you'll probably be asked to volunteer. Communication. I am not always in my office. My office is back here. Sometimes I'm up here, so I'm never really in there all day long. You can send me an email. I can access that anywhere. I can work from home. I can work from Mexico, as long as I don't have to be here. If I'm on an email, I can check those. My office phone is listed there. I do not get great service in the school during the day. I can't get Facebook. I can't get Facebook Messenger. Please do not use those to contact me. Okay, because good chance I even got a voicemail from Mr. Hinkle the next day when I got home. Okay, I don't know why, but it didn't come through. So call my office phone, send me an email. I just leave a message with Twyla, with Becky, whoever, I will get that. Coaches will communicate preferably through final forms. I know that Coach Klein does a lot of his announcements through final forms. Huddle, we use Remind, they use Band. The school is still working on some two-way communication called something, which I forget. Sorry, but it hasn't done what we want it to do yet, I don't think. So some form of communication, preferably just not text messaging, but something you'll get that your coaches will communicate with your kids. Tickets. Unfortunately, the Wayne County League decided to raise ticket prices for adults for the next school year. So they are listed there. They're $8 for adults, $4 for students. That did stay the same. But for middle school events, if it's a league, just a league contest, football game, a volleyball game, a boys basketball game, a girls basketball game, we don't charge for those. But if you get to the tournament, a volleyball tournament, a girls or boys basketball tournament, and the track and field championship, those will be charged events. If we have a non-league game, sometimes they charge, depending if you're playing there or not. When I get that information, I will get that to you. We have tried as a league, maybe not we, but they have tried as a league for years to get middle school tickets or charging for middle school events, and the superintendents have said no for years and years and years. So they made the adults at the high school events $1 more. So that's what they did. We will still offer next year for high school contests that we charge through hometown ticketing. So if you like the digital, once we get that set up, that will be available. I am also going to offer the sports passes again. They were neon colors, green, pink, yellow, I think. We'll do those again. So be looking for that to come out on the website. But so those are tickets. We do not charge in the spring for normal track and field events. Baseball and softball, but that's high school stuff. Schedules are sometimes really easy to do, sometimes not very easy to do. We switched to Dragonfly a couple years ago. Dragonfly is getting better, so this is the link for Dragonfly. And that is the actual Hillsdale site. You can go on and look at all the sports, all the different levels. I can't promise you that you'll like that, because if a change is made, it doesn't always reflect nicely on Dragonfly. So this other, on the Hillsdale website, I don't know if I can do this. Okay, so this is the Hillsdale website, the athletics website. And on the side here, it has schedules. I put my schedule on a Google Sheet and then update it on there. So our communication specialist, Mrs. Seaman, will put these on here. This still shows fall. I'll show you how nice this spring schedule looks right now. So if you pop this up, maybe, you can see it did start out really nice. And I used to make copies of these until I realized as soon as I made 100 copies, in about 5 minutes, it was wrong because someone had to cancel, or it was raining, or it was storming. So I kind of just started going through all of this, and you can see all the red or new dates and all the strike-throughs or all the cancellations. So this is where I make my changes, like, I wouldn't say in real time, but close to in real time. So as soon as I know of a change, I put it on here. I let the coaches know, and then they will let the student athletes know. But spring is a nightmare, as you can see there. But that's where I would recommend you look. But I will not, unless you need a copy, I won't make copies, because they're not going to be right after that. It'll be wrong, and everybody will be here for a game, and they're like, but there was a game. Some of our older people, bless their hearts, they get copies, and they're sitting there waiting, and we don't have a game because I had to change it. So there's where I would recommend. Our head coaches that we have, not all of them are here. Some of them are football, Coach Klein. We are starting boys soccer for high school this year. So these are all the high school head coaches. Coach Silva is our new boys soccer coach. Coach Whitmer is back in the back. Coach Willicke for volleyball. Coach Whistle coaches golf. We're looking for a cross-country coach if we have any runners that would like to coach. And then our cheer coach, Coach Lawson, she does both football and basketball. Winter coaches, Coach Ferguson, Coach Schemberger, Coach Lawson, and our wrestling coach is Coach Major. And spring, Coach Snow, baseball, Coach Smith, softball, and then track and field, we have Coach Whistle coaches that also, along with Coach Poling. So we have lots of great coaches that work well together in our little small community. It's what it takes here. We all are flexible. Most of us are flexible. We do our best. We try our best. There's sometimes that it doesn't always work out, but we make the best of it. So any questions before I have some others speak? I know it was a lot. I'm sure there's probably something I missed that I should have said. But I asked Coach Klein if he'll kind of go over, just to give you an idea of what is kind of expected as you go through middle school years to high school. So like what his program, what he does to get them ready for high school. So he's going to go over that. This meeting right here, for you guys that are here, hopefully you all signed in. This will take place of the July 28th fall parent meeting. So you don't necessarily have to come to that again if you don't want to. There may be a couple other things, because I'll talk about high school, like grades, credits, and stuff if you have an older kid. But I would suggest you do come for the sports-specific meetings that we have after that. So usually it's a half hour where we do basically all the same stuff we just talked about, and then we'll break apart into specific sports. So like all those fall coaches will go to a different room and go over their schedules, their expectations, and such. Coach Klein.
All right, so for the football program, a lot of you in here have already started getting emails from me. So on Hillsdale Final Forms, if your son or daughter's interested in playing football, I start sending stuff out. For me, that's how I do most of my communication, is through Final Forms. So just make sure you're checking your email weekly. Usually it's sent out on Sunday evenings. I just give you the overview of basically what the schedule is for the week. I would definitely encourage your kids to go to the off-season stuff. I know in our football program, we open it up for 7 through 12. The junior high schedule is a little bit different than the high school schedule, but for us, we want each and every one of you there, because what we've just found out over the years, if we can get the kids coming to stuff in junior high, they tend to end up being the ones who, when they get to high school, they are still coming to the stuff. And the kids who come to our off-season stuff tend to end up getting themselves ahead of the other kids that don't. The off-season stuff's not mandatory, but it's highly encouraged that you do show up to that stuff. I know for me, I want kids to play 2-3 sports. I went to school here at Hillsdale. I was a 2-3 sport athlete. So we want the kids involved in a bunch of stuff. So we do understand, like, when it is the off-season, whatever sport that you're in, that does take priority. But I know for like the football program, lifting throughout the whole year is extremely important. And our guys, for the most part, do a pretty good job at coming to all that stuff. And that's going to benefit them for each sport. But big thing for me, just make sure you guys are checking your emails weekly, in and out of season, because in the football program, we do send that stuff out. For the junior high, when you get in season, usually the coaches do like a remind, or they do some sort of one of those communication apps. But at the high school level, everything's done through Final Forms. So does anyone have any questions football-wise for me while you guys are here? Nothing. If you don't have a schedule yet, those were sent out through an email and also given to the students. So if you don't have a schedule, I do have junior high schedules up here too.
Hello, I'm Coach Maddie. Just for volleyball, a little bit different from football is I communicate through, and our coaches communicate through band. So if you haven't already been signed up through band, that would be something that you'd reach out to me or one of the 7th grade coaches to get you signed up for the band app. So that is what Coach Trevor was talking about, was there's an app called Band that we all communicate through. And that's actually through high school. So we have a channel for high school as well. I know Final Forms is being kind of like recommended to us. So I'm still trying to build my wherewithal with Final Forms. Band is just more comfortable for me, so I need to kind of branch into Final Forms a little bit more. But same with Trevor. Really encourage. We have 7th grade summer stuff, 7th and 8th grade summer stuff coming up. It's not as rigorous as our high school, but we really encourage. Sorry, this needs to go up too. Oh, okay. We really encourage the girls to come to what they can in the summer, just to be prepared for fall. Because just as Jody kind of mentioned, It is different. It's every day. And there's often a lot of girls that come out for 7th and 8th grade volleyball. So there may be a cut of some sort. So that's also something, just encouraging, just get in the gym. We do start lifting, and so yeah, we just hope to see you out there. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I'm always available.
Thank you for coming, and happy summer.